Rabotai, Shavua Tov. Last night, Motzei Shabbat, Parashat Vayechi, was a very interesting phenomenon that doesn't happen a lot. Last night was the last night for Birkat Levana. I'll explain. It becomes a machloket poskim when it happens last night. The entire previous week was basically more or less cloudy every night, so many people did not have a chance to do Birkat Levana the entire week. So last night my phone was exploding with questions about whether or not last night you could have done Birkat Levana b'Shem Malchut. What's the question? Let me explain. Last night, although it was the 15th of the month, it was also past the halfway mark. There's a machloket in the poskim. Until what point is a person allowed to do Birkat Levana? Now it's the halfway point of something. It's either the halfway point of the month, which is the 15th of the month, including, or the halfway point of the molad, which means we know that the moon rejuvenates itself. It's called the molad. It is mitchadesh it's not 30 days, it's 29 days, 12 hours, and 793 halakim, which is about 40 minutes or so. Every one of those cycles, the moon is mitchadesh. The moon rejuvenates. And therefore, the halfway point of that, according to some poskim, after that, you're not allowed to say Birkat Levana anymore. Last night, the molad was a little bit earlier this month, and therefore by last night, even though it was the 15th night of the month, nevertheless the halfway point of the molad was already passed. Rabbeinu Yosef Chaim, in Rav Pa'alim, explains the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tav Kavav Sa'id Gimel to mean that once you pass that halfway point after the molad, you can no longer say Birkat Levana, at least b'Shem u'Malchut. You can say it without Hashem's name, but not with. That was the story last night. However, Maran Zichrono Livracha, both in Alichot Olam and in Chazon Ovadia Chanukah, vehemently disagrees with the Ben Ish Chai, and he holds, like many poskim, and he brings re'ayot to this, that the halacha is that whether or not, doesn't matter when the 15th day of the month is, whether it's before the halfway point of the nolad or after, the entire 15th night of the month, every single month, is worthy of saying Birkat Levana b'Shem u'Malchut. So last night, it came out lekula, because even though you're past the halfway mark, but nevertheless, since it's the 15th night of the month, it was still mutar, according to Maran Zichron Bracha, to say Birkat Levana b'Shem u'Malchut all night long until Alot HaShachar. So that was the answer. Many people were saying, without Shem Malchut, they're Mesupak. Okay, it's Machlok Poskim, that's true. But Maran Zichron Bracha brings the ayot brurot that is the halacha. So last night was worthy of saying it all night long. Now, in a situation like that, many people asked me before Shabbat also, hey, wait a second, if Motzei Shabbat is the last day, what about doing it on Friday night, Belen Shabbat? So over there, the halacha is very clear. Although in general, we do not do Birkat Levana on Len Shabbat, we tend to wait for Motzei Shabbat, as the Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Tav Kavav Saif Aleph. It's better to do it on Motzei Shabbat, or any other weekday if you can get a minyan. The halacha is that it is 100% acceptable to say Birkat Levana, Belen Shabbat, with all of the mizmorim, and with the bracha, and with kaddish, and with the minyan. There's absolutely no problem. There's no chilul Shabbat, there's no ma'aseh chol. It's just the bracha, and it's just mizmoret teilim and other psukim. There's no issue whatsoever in a situation like that now again, from what I remember, this past Friday night was cloudy also. But for those who wanted to or had a chance to say Birkat Levana Belen Shabbat, it would have been perfectly acceptable to do so in a situation like we just described. Yom Tov and Shavua Tov, Mincha V'Arvit all week long is at 4:30.